Okay, let's talk Game of Thrones last night. Okay, and I said this before, but I forgot back up Midnight's Edge, and Andre saying, yeah, they tried to cram in about another 2 full seasons worth of work and story into 6 episodes. No. Why? And this, they decided, apparently the history of this thing, they decided to just rush to the finish long before they got the Star Wars deal, I think. Or around the same time, maybe, but I think that was before they actually did the Star Wars thing. So there really was no reason to rush this. HBO was doing great ratings-wise, and there was no hurry to wrap this up. And once upon a time, you tried to milk these shows for as much as you could. It's job security, which is something you do not have in show business, in television. That's why you had some major actors, the later parts of the career take up TV series because, instead of going from job to job, like, hey, I got a gig for a while. Yeah. I don't know. It's like, again, the plot overall was fine. Even Bran getting the Iron Throne, but and they barely pulled off the Cell job with Tyrion there. When I first heard that little spoiler, it's like, you got to be kidding me, Bran. No. But yeah, there was a germ of it, yeah, okay, it makes sense. Okay? Barely. Because there was no build-up to this whatsoever. And like everything else, there was no build-up to anything. It just happened, But no, we got to get this point, but it doesn't matter, explain it at all. And Arya suddenly want to, turn into Magellan. It's like... When did she ever express any interest in traveling the globe and find out what's west of Westeros? I understand there was stuff in the books, but again, they skipped a lot of stuff in the books because it got in the way of, around that plot through. But okay, Arya Stark, the Pirate Queen. I can go with that. I'd watch that show. But they really did. Squirrel. He made it. They really have damaged their own. Weiss and Benioff, they've damaged more than just the Game of Thrones brand, because there's plenty of people who are just forget not even wanting to watch it. And they're removing their collections. They're like Garrett Nerderotic. He is selling all his Game of Thrones stuff on eBay. It's like he's so disgusted what they've done here, and I'll be charitable and figure they kind of landed it with a not soft thud. I wouldn't call it a total disaster, but it was really truncated, and you could tell. This is stuff that should, the Battle of Winterfell should have been at the end of the season, and a big old build-up. Instead, we got, everything on fast forward. And then occasional pauses to, enjoy a certain piece of scenery, and then back on fast forward again. Imagine the first 3 Star Wars movies crammed into an hour and a half. Where you skip all the stuff about the Force and, the build-up and the character, and you just hit the highlights, That's what this is. We got this last 6 episodes was a Game of Thrones highlight reel, and unfortunately, the highlight reel that we hadn't seen the game yet. So yes, I'm going to bring in the sports ball analogy here. NFL, a thing called Red Zone, where you wouldn't see all the you'd only see just the touchdowns of that last of this whatever previous game was going on. And an example of where that wouldn't work very well is rather famous Denver-Cleveland game, where they were down and they're down 6 points, less than a minute to go, way back on their own 3-yard line, and you had what is still called the drive, where Elway took the team all the way down the field in less than 2 minutes and won the game the last second. If all you see is the touchdown, it was a very boring, 3-yard out and line. If you don't see anything build up to it, who cares? And that's what we got here. We're only showed the touchdowns here, and we're not showing the plays that lead up to it. So we can't appreciate anything of what led up to this thing. Because there was nothing, as far as we're concerned, nothing led up to it. Just boom, there. Like, okay, Night King's dead. Nope, Daddy's dead. Nope, Night Lady's ashes. Nope, everything's dead. It's just baffling, why they would do this in the first damn place. Because they had, you had a golden goose there, and it wasn't, letting up on the golden eggs. And you had that, very fleeting job security. You could have easily gotten there another, again, an additional 2 full seasons. And if the actors were grumbling, it's because they weren't being given anything to do. This was a chance to give them something to do. And they're all pretty young people, for the most part. None of them there weren't any particularly elderly folks there in that cast. They could have hung on for a couple more years beyond this. Instead, what you have, you've taken what was hailed as many as the greatest TV show ever to one of the greatest disappointments ever. Arguably the worst, because Lost still holds that top spot, apparently. It's like just total waste of time. And that's why I refuse to even watch the old one. We have Lost on DVD. I refuse to watch them anymore. I didn't even watch it. I just heard enough about that last day. It's like, why? Screw you. I've seen Last Jedi once. I had it on my computer. I just recently deleted it. It's like, why? I'm not going to watch it again. Because people tend to forget. It's like the lousy ending can ruin the entire experience. It's kind of also why I figure if they had kept in Nimoy's ad-lib. Okay, I had another half prepared, but I apparently got lost somewhere in the process of this whole thing of making it. So, if they had kept Spock's ad-lib at the end of Motion Picture about if Dr. McCoy's remained on board, then my presence here is essential, that would have redeemed the Motion Picture. It would have come out a lot better, and it would have a lot less disappointment in that one. That's the thing. You nail the landing, and you're fine. It doesn't matter how good your routine was to begin with. If you screw up the landing, you blew it. And they kind of muffed the landing here. I mean, it could have been worse. No one broke any legs, but it's not a clean landing. So that 9.4 drops down to an 8.3, okay, or something like that. But yeah, this has damaged the whole brand. I think you're gonna, you're seeing disgusted fans like Gary selling off all their stuff. You're not gonna see people going up to rush up to buy the new ones. So certainly no one's gonna be upgrading to 4K. God knows what this is gonna, what the blowback is gonna be with the prequel. They're already producing one of the prequels, and anyone gonna watch it now, knowing how it ends up? Is anybody interested in the other 5 prequels they got in mind? No, they screwed the poocher big time. So, there's a reckoning coming, I think. And we'll see if anything gets into the Knights of the Old Republic prequel they got planned with these two. Because, yeah, Bob Iger's singing their praises, but he's got to sing their praises. He just hired them. He just signed a contract with them for $7 million with their other crown jewel properties. He's got to sing their praises. Behind the scenes, that could be a whole other story. So, PayPal, Patreon down below. We're still trying to get the Kingsland, so links are in the description, and we'll catch you later.